All right, let's talk about something important today. 6 signs of a stupid man. Now, before you get all defensive, hear me out. I'm not here to attack anyone, but sometimes we need to step back and check ourselves. You know what I'm talking about, those moments when you feel like you're stuck, not making progress, and it feels like life is just handing you lessons where you keep missing them. It's easy to blame the world, right? But in reality, there's a bigger lesson, a better way. You've probably been there, stuck in your own thoughts, letting the small stuff build up, feeling like you're at a crossroads without knowing how to move forward. You see, the first sign of a stupid man, it's not about being unintelligent. It's about being disconnected from your growth. You see, true growth isn't about how much you know. It's about how much you learn. And that learning comes from every experience you go through. I'll be real with you for a second. It's easy to stay comfortable, to avoid change, to think I'm doing just fine. But let me tell you something, comfort kills growth. A man who is stubborn and closed off to new ideas is like a tree that refuses to bend in the wind. It might look sturdy, but eventually it'll break. You've got to be open to learning, open to change, open to evolving. That's what life demands from you. You can't sit still and think you're going to get ahead. So, if you're wondering if you've been stuck in that mindset of I know what I know, this is the first sign. A real growth mindset is constantly challenging yourself. You have to be willing to leave your comfort zone behind and explore the unknown. Now, let me tell you why this video is going to be different. I'm going to give you insights that will shift your mindset, help you get unstuck, and really look at life from a new perspective. Stay with me till the end, because you'll walk away with something that'll make you look at everything differently. This isn't just about identifying those signs, it's about breaking free from them. This isn't a typical motivational video where I just throw some words at you. I'm here to make sure you feel something. When you realize you've been stuck, it's like a spiritual awakening. That's what it feels like when you finally get it, when your growth mindset kicks in, and when you understand that your emotional resilience is what's going to get you through. The world doesn't change, you do. Now, I know you might be wondering, why are you even talking about this? Well, it's simple. This isn't just some self-help fluff. This is real. This is about breaking free from every limitation you've placed on yourself. And when you see these signs and break them down, you'll get a clearer vision of what's really holding you back. If you've ever felt like, I want to break free, I'm right there with you. Don't go anywhere, because in the next parts, we're diving deep. We're going to take a good, hard look at the signs and what you can do to avoid falling into the trap of being stuck in your own mind. So get ready for a real conversation. Now, we're diving deeper. The second sign of a stupid man is not understanding the power of self-awareness. This is huge. Think about it. How often do you really stop and check in with yourself? Like, truly check in. Most of us are so busy chasing the next thing, meeting deadlines, living up to expectations, that we forget to ask, am I the person I want to be right now? And I'm not talking about superficial stuff. I'm talking about who you are at the core, who you are when no one's watching, when it's just you and your thoughts. Self-awareness isn't just about knowing your strengths. It's about understanding your flaws, your triggers, the habits you've built that may not be serving you. It's about looking in the mirror and not just seeing the face you've been carrying around, but the person behind it. And you honestly say, you know what you're doing, and why you're doing it. Most people don't. They act on autopilot. That's where the real growth begins, when you start being conscious of your choices. When you're aware of how your decisions shape your life, you realize how much power you hold. But a stupid man doesn't do this. He runs from the truth. He doesn't want to face the reality that maybe, just maybe, he's been the one holding himself back. The truth hurts, but It's also the only thing that can set you free. Let me give you a real example. Think of someone like Elon Musk. Now, I'm not saying you have to become Elon Musk, but here's the thing: this guy, in his own way, has mastered the art of self-awareness. He constantly checks himself. He doesn't just go along with what's popular or easy. He makes decisions with the awareness that everything he does will create triples. And he's always ready to adjust course when necessary. That's growth. That's emotional resilience. You might not be a billionaire, but you can take a page from this. Life will throw obstacles at you. It'll test you. But when you're self-aware, when you understand your motivations, when you know why you do the things you do, you can rise above it all. So, why is this important? Because self-awareness allows you to grow. Without it, you're just wandering aimlessly, reacting instead of responding. It's like trying to drive a car blindfolded. You're not going to get very far. But when you know yourself, when you've taken the time to look inward, you're steering with intention. And that, my friend, is how you break free from limitations. And don't let anyone tell you that self-awareness is just a buzzword. It's the foundation of growth. Without it, you can't build anything. It's the cornerstone of having a growth mindset, being open to learning, to evolving. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so how do I get more self? Oh, well, let me tell you. It starts with small steps. First, make time for reflection. Every day, just a few minutes. Ask yourself some tough questions. Be honest with yourself. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but that's where the magic happens. Once you face those uncomfortable truths, you can actually do something about them. The real secret here is the emotional resilience you develop through self-awareness. It's how you can bounce back when life knocks you down, because you've learned it not just from the successes, but from the failures too. And remember, growth isn't linear, it's a journey. Sometimes you'll take the steps forward, sometimes one step back. But as long as you're moving, you're growing. Stick with me. We're just getting started. In the next part, I'm going to break down how fear plays into all of this, how it keeps you from facing these signs, and how you can start breaking free from that too. Let's talk about fear. You can't escape it. You can run from it. It's something that will be there at every major decision in your life, sitting in the corner of your mind, trying to convince you that you can't do it, that you'll fail, that you're not good enough. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in the world, and it can either be your biggest obstacle or your greatest motivator. The difference lies in how you handle it. A stupid man doesn't confront his fears. He runs from them. He lets fear dictate his choices, his actions, his entire life. Every time he faces something comfortable or challenging, fear whispers, "You can't do it. It's not worth it. It's safer to stay where you are," and he listens. Fear traps him in this tiny box, and he stays stuck in his comfort zone, never reaching for what's possible. But that's not how you're supposed to live. Not if you want to break free from every limitation. Now, I know what you're thinking, Will. That sounds easy, but fear is real. It's not something you just get over. You're right. Fear is real, and it's a part of being human. But here's the kicker: it's not about getting rid of fear. It's about learning to move forward despite it. The moment you realize that fear is not an enemy to be avoided, but a teacher to be embraced, that's when you can start changing your life. Think about the most successful people out there. The ones who built something out of nothing. The ones who faced countless failures but got back up anyway. I'm talking about people like Steve Jobs, who put everything on the line for a vision. Or someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who didn't get to where he is without facing his own fears, doubts, and challenges. These people didn't live lives without fear. They lived lives where they acted with. They used it as fuel to push through the hardest moments. You want to be successful. You want to rise above the limitations in your life. You've got to look fear in the face and say, not today. Fear will try to tell you that you're not strong enough, not smart enough, not good enough. But you've got to drown out that voice with the truth. You are more than capable. Fear only has power over you when you let it. Now, let me give you something that's going to change the way you think about fear. Fear of failure is one of the biggest traps most people fall into. We're afraid to try because we're afraid of failing. But failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a part of success. You can't be successful without failing at least a few times. But the most successful people didn't let those failures define them. They learned from them, adapted, and kept going. And that's the emotional resilience we're talking about. The ability to bounce back, not when things are easy, but when things get tough. In fact, the most powerful people are the ones who learn to act in spite of fear. You can't wait until the fear disappears, because that moment might never come. Instead, you have to learn to act while it's still there. You've heard the saying, do what's cared. That's exactly the mindset you need. I'm not saying it's easy. Trust me, it's hard. This is the secret to growth. This is the path to freedom. Spiritual awakening comes when you stop allowing fear to control your life. You start stepping out in faith. Faith that you can handle whatever comes your way because you know you're strong enough. It's like when you're in a storm and you can't see the way out. The only thing you have is faith that the storm will pass and you'll be stronger for it. Fear is no different. It's all about getting comfortable with discomfort. The more you push through fear, the more you build emotional resilience. The more you build resilience, the more you begin to believe in yourself. The more you believe in yourself, the more you're willing to take risks and go after what you really want in life. That's the formula for success. So, what's the takeaway here? It's simple. Fear is going to show up, and it's going to show up a lot. But when it does, don't run. Don't hide. Step up, face it, and say, I'm doing this anyway. That's how you'll break free from your limitations. That's how you'll unlock your full potential. In the next part, we're going to talk about how ego gets in the way of your growth and why you need to let go of the idea that you have to always be right. Because that ego, it's another chain that's holding you back. Stick around. All right, let's talk about ego. This is one of the sneak-ass things that'll keep you stuck in a place you don't want to be. You see, your ego doesn't care about growth. It cares about being right. It's all about the image, the reputation, the sense of superiority. And the thing is, a stupid man lets his ego take control of his decisions. He's too concerned with appearing perfect, too focused on proving a point to others, rather than actually growing into the best version of himself. When your ego is in charge, you're not open to learning. You become defensive, closed off. You reject feedback. You see, the ego thrives on being the alpha, the top dog, the one with all the answers. But what happens when you're always right? What happens when you believe you've mastered it all? You stop growing. You stop evolving. You stop living. Here's the thing: growth requires vulnerability. It requires you to admit, I don't know everything. I'm still learning. I still have room to grow. And for a lot of people, that's hard. The ego doesn't like that. It doesn't want to show weakness. It doesn't want to admit failure. But if you want to break free from your limitations, you have to let go of the need to be right all the time. You have to make peace with being wrong sometimes. It's part of the process. Let me give you an example. I've talked about this before, but it's worth mentioning again. Think about when I was starting out in my career. I had the chance to be in a movie with a veteran actor who'd been in the game for decades. I thought I knew it all. I'd done my homework. I had the lines down, but I soon realized I was missing something important: humility. The actor I was working with pulled me aside and gave me some advice. At first, I didn't want to hear it. My ego told me, I've got this. I don't need advice from anyone. But I swallowed my pride, listened, and learned. That moment, that willingness to put my ego aside, was a turning point in my growth as an actor and as a person. The stupid man doesn't take that advice. He's too proud. He'll make every excuse, argue, and justify why his way is the best way. But that's not the path to success. That's the path to frustration, stagnation, and failure. If you can't admit when you don't know something or when you're wrong, you'll never improve. You'll never be able to develop the emotional resilience that's needed to rise above the obstacles in your life. The ego also tells you that you have to be in control at all times. It's like a constant need to manage everything around you. But let me tell you something, control is an illusion. Life is unpredictable. There are so many things you can't control. You can't control the weather, the economy, or even the people around you. And guess what? That's okay. What you can control is how you react. You can control your response to challenges. And that, my friend, is where true power lies. In life, you'll face setbacks. You'll encounter people who don't like you, people who challenge your beliefs, and people who outright oppose you. When you let your ego take over, you're going to want to defend yourself, argue, and force things your way. But if you do that, you're only feeding into the very thing that's holding you back. Let it go. Let go of the need to always be right. Instead, focus on growth. This is something I learned the hard way. Over the years, I've been humbled more times than I can count. And each time, I came out the other side stronger. And I'm not saying that you have to constantly fail to learn. You don't. But sometimes you need to fall in order to see that there's more to life than being right. There's a beauty in humility. There's a strength in vulnerability. And that's how you break free from limitations. Now, I'm not telling you to let go of your confidence. Confidence is key, but there's a big difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence says, I know I'm good, and I know I can do it. Arrogance says, I'm the best, and no one else can tell me anything. One opens doors, the other closes them. A lot of the world's most successful people have learned to balance confidence with humility. Take someone like Bill Gates, for example. This guy is a billionaire, one of the richest men in the world, but he's constantly learning. He talks about reading hundreds of books a year. He's constantly evolving. He's humble enough to know that the world is always changing and that there's always room for improvement. And that's the kind of mindset that will set you free from your limitations. So, what's the takeaway here? Your ego is not your friend. Don't let it control you. It'll keep you stuck in a cycle of pride, defensiveness, and stagnation. Let go of the need to be right all the time. Be open to learning, be open to change, and most importantly, be open to being wrong. The more you embrace humility, the more you'll grow. And the more you grow, the more freedom you'll find. In the next part, we're going to talk about the power of consistency, how small daily actions can lead to massive results, and why so many people fail because they give up too soon. Stick with me. This is going to be a game changer. Now that we've talked about ego, fear, and growth, let's shift gears a little bit. Consistency, this is a game changer. And this is where most people fail. It's not because they don't have the talent. It's not because they don't have the drive, but because they don't stay consistent. They get discouraged after a few failures. They give up when things get hard. And they think that success is this overnight thing that happens after just a few attempts. That's a lie. Success isn't about one big breakthrough. It's about doing the right things day in and day out, even when you don't see results right away. The stupid man gives up too soon. He starts something with excitement and enthusiasm, But when things don't go according to plan, when things get tough, he bails. He believes that success is immediate, that if he doesn't see results quickly, it's just not meant to be. But truth is, success is a long game. It's about the small, everyday choices that build over time and compound into something great. I remember early on in my career, I didn't hit it big overnight. Far from it. I spent years in the industry, working on smaller gigs, not getting the roles I wanted, dealing with rejection after rejection. It would have been so easy to just give up, to say this isn't for me, I'm not cut out for this. But I didn't. I stayed consistent. I kept learning. I kept improving. I kept showing up every single day, putting in the work even when no one was watching. And eventually, it paid off. But it wasn't overnight. Here's what I want you to understand. The road to success is rarely a straight line. There are going to be bumps along the way. There are going to be days when you don't feel like doing it, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when it feels like nothing is happening. But that's when the real magic happens, when you keep going, even when you can't see the results yet. You keep pushing through, even when it's hard. That's the secret to breaking free from limitations. Consistency is not about being perfect. It's about showing up every single day, even on the days you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when things aren't going your way. It's about being willing to do the work to make progress no matter how small it may seem. Those little steps will build up over time, and one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. But if you quit too soon, if you stop showing up, you'll never see that progress. And that's what happens to the stupid man. He quits before he can see what's possible. Consistency also builds self-discipline. When you commit to something and stick with it, even when it gets tough, you train your mind to keep going no matter the obstacles. You're telling yourself, I'm not going to let setbacks or challenges stop me. I'm going to keep moving forward. That's how you develop the emotional resilience we've talked about. You'll learn that failure isn't permanent. It's just a lesson along the way. The stupid man sees failure as a sign to quit. The wise man sees it as an opportunity to learn, grow, and keep going. Take a look at any successful person, and you'll see consistency in action. Look at someone like Jeff Bezos. He didn't build Amazon overnight. It wasn't some big magical moment. He started in a garage, selling books online. He faced countless challenges, had plenty of failures, and experienced plenty of setbacks. But he kept showing up, kept innovating, and kept working. Today, Amazon is one of the largest companies in the world. But that success didn't happen because of one big moment. It happened because of consistent and effort over time. And don't get it twisted, you're not going to feel motivated every single day. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. That's why relying on motivation alone is a mistake. What you need is discipline. Discipline is what will keep you going when motivation is gone. It's what will help you show up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. And discipline comes from making that decision to keep going, even when it's hard. The other thing that consistency brings is momentum. When you keep showing up day after day, you start building momentum. And when you have momentum on your side, it's like a snowball rolling downhill. It gets bigger, faster, and harder to stop. The first few steps might be slow. They might feel insignificant, but over time, that consistency starts to snowball and you begin to see results. The stupid man never gets this far because he quits before the momentum can build. The wise man stays consistent, and as time passes, everything starts to come together. And here's another truth. It's not just about showing up. It's about showing up with intention. When you're consistent, you're not just putting in time. You're making deliberate, purposeful choices every day. You're putting in effort. You're learning, growing, and getting better. Intention is what makes consistency powerful. Without intention, you're just going through the motions, and that's not enough to break free from your limitations. I want you to think about this for a moment. What would happen if you committed to something for a year without giving up? What if you just showed up every single day for a year, consistently putting in the work, staying disciplined, and learning from your failures? Do you think you'd be in the same place you are today? Or would you be a completely different person? Would your life look different? I know this is a long road, but I also know that every great achievement requires consistency. Every great success story is built on the foundation of consistent effort. And I'm here to tell you you've got it in you. You can break free from every limitation. You can unlock your full potential. But it's going to take consistency. And that's the choice you need to make today. Next, we're going to talk about purpose. The reason why you're doing all of this in the first place. Because without purpose, none of this matters. Stick around, and I'll help you find that clarity. All right, let's talk about purpose. This right here is what separates the truly successful from the ones who are just wandering through life. Without purpose, you're like a ship without a rudder, just drifting wherever the waves take you. And trust me, that's not a place you want to be. Purpose is the fuel that drives you. It's what keeps you going when the days get tough, when you're tired, when you're doubting yourself. Without purpose, it's so easy to give up because you don't have a strong enough why to keep pushing forward. The stupid man lives without purpose. He's just going through the motions, reacting to life instead of acting with intention. He doesn't have a clear vision of where he's headed. And so he ends up wasting time, energy, and potential. He gets caught up in distractions, in the things that don't really matter, and in the noise of the world around him. But the wise man, he's different. He knows exactly what he's working for. He knows why he's putting in the effort, why he's waking up early, why he's staying up late to work on his dreams. And that clarity of purpose is what pushes him forward, even when things are hard. I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, what is your purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing? What's the reason you get up every day and put in the work? If you don't have a clear answer, it's time to figure it out. Your purpose is your North Star, and without it, you'll always be lost. It doesn't matter if you're trying to build a career, start a business, or change your life in some way. If you don't have a purpose, you won't make it far. You'll lose sight of the bigger picture, and when obstacles come your way, and they will, you won't have the strength to overcome them. Let me tell you something, purpose is powerful. It's like a secret weapon. When you know your why, nothing can stop you. You can face failure, you can face rejection, you can face setbacks, and you'll keep going because you're driven by something deeper than just success or money or recognition. You're driven by a sense of meaning. You're driven by the need to fulfill something greater than yourself. I remember when I was starting out in my acting career. There were moments when I wanted to quit, when I thought it was all too much, when I was struggling just to get a break. But I kept going because I knew why I was doing it. I wasn't just trying to get famous or make money. I was doing it because I wanted to inspire people. I wanted to share stories that moved people, that made them think, that helped them see the world differently. I had a purpose that was bigger than myself and that kept me going even when things were tough. Now let's talk about purpose in the context of growth mindset. This is something that's deeply connected to your sense of purpose. A growth mindset is the belief that you can improve and evolve through effort, learning, and persistence. It's the opposite of a fixed mindset where you believe your abilities are limited and that you can't change your circumstances. With a growth mindset, you see challenges as opportunities, not roadblocks. You understand that failure is just a stepping stone. It's a lesson in disguise. It's not a reason to quit, it's a reason to get better. The stupid man doesn't have a growth mindset. He believes that if he fails once, that's it. He thinks he's not good enough, or that success is only for the lucky few. But the wise man, the one with a growth mindset, understands that failure is part of the process. He sees it as a learning opportunity, not something to be afraid of. And that's how he moves forward. He learns, adapts, and grows from his mistakes. Every failure becomes a stepping stone toward success. Purpose and growth mindset go hand in hand. When you have a clear sense of purpose, you're more likely to embrace a growth mindset because you have something to work toward. You're not just going through the motions. You're actively working on yourself, on your skills, and on your mindset because you know it's going to bring you closer to your purpose. But purpose isn't just about achieving something for yourself. It's about the impact you're going to make on others. Think about it. When you fulfill your purpose, it doesn't just benefit you. It benefits everyone around you. You inspire others to chase their dreams, to find their purpose, and to live a life of meaning. That's why purpose is so powerful. It has a ripple effect. When you're living with purpose, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the world around you. Now, we can't forget the role of spiritual awakening in all of this. This isn't just about having a goal or a career. It's about connecting to something deeper, something beyond just the material world. Spiritual awakening is about realizing that there's more to life than just success and money. It's about understanding that your true purpose is aligned with something bigger than yourself. When you tap into that deeper level of purpose, you unlock a whole new dimension of power, clarity, and emotional resilience. A spiritually awakened person understands that their purpose is not just about personal gain, but about serving others, contributing to the world, and leaving a legacy that lasts beyond their lifetime. They know that every action they take is part of a bigger plan, and they are guided by a higher sense of meaning and fulfillment. When you have this kind of spiritual awareness, you're not just chasing after empty goals. You're on a mission to make a difference, and that will give you the strength to keep going even when times get tough. Purpose, growth mindset, and spiritual awakening are all interconnected. They feed into each other and help you build the emotional resilience you need to face life's challenges. And when you have all three, there's nothing that can stop you. You're not just living for today, you're living for the future, for the people around you, and for the greater good of the world. So, what I want you to take away from this is that purpose is everything. If you're not clear on your purpose yet, take the time to figure it out. And once you do, go after it with everything you've got. Build your growth mindset, tap into your spiritual awakening, and let your purpose fuel every decision, every action, and every step you take. You've got it in you to break free from every limitation, and now you've got the clarity to make it happen. Next, we're going to talk about overcoming doubt. We all face doubt, but it's how we handle it that determines our future. Stick around, we're going to tackle it head on. All right, let's dive deep into something that all of us face at one point or another: doubt. It's that little voice in your head that says, you can't do this, or you're not good enough, or it's too hard. It creeps up when you're on the edge of greatness, when you're about to take a leap of faith, when you're about to make a change that could completely transform your life. And let me tell you, doubt can be paralyzing. It can stop you in your tracks if you let it. But here's the thing: doubt is natural, but it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to be the thing that holds you back from your potential. I've been there. I felt it. I've had moments where I thought, what if I'm not meant for this? What if I fail? It's part of being human. But what separates the successful from the unsuccessful, the winners from the quitters, is how they respond to that doubt. Do they give in, or do they push through? A lot of people, when doubt hits, they start to shrink. They start to question their abilities, question their worth, and start making excuses to avoid the very thing they want most. But here's the secret: doubt only has power when you give it power. The moment you decide not to listen to it, the moment you decide to take action despite it, that's the moment you take back control. Doubt doesn't have to be the end of the story. It can be the beginning of a new chapter. When you feel doubt, use it as fuel to prove to yourself that you can do it. Let me give you an example. Think about someone like Steve Jobs, for instance. He faced rejection and doubt like no other. People thought he was crazy. They thought his ideas were impractical and unrealistic. But instead of succumbing to that doubt, he used it to fuel his vision. He believed in his purpose so strongly that he didn't let the voices of doubt drown out his own voice of certainty. His belief in his purpose was stronger than any doubt he could ever face. That's what you need to do. You need to silence that doubt by focusing on your purpose, your vision, and your belief in yourself. If you truly understand the bigger picture, the fear and doubt won't stop you from moving forward. Instead of wondering, what if I fail? Start asking, what if I succeed? Start thinking about the people you're going to impact, the lives you're going to change, and the legacy you're going to leave. Let that vision drown out the doubt. But here's the thing, overcoming doubt is not just a mental battle. It's also emotional. It requires emotional resilience, which, let's be honest, isn't something that comes easily to everyone. It's the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to keep going when things don't go your way, to stay strong when life throws you curveballs. Emotional resilience is what allows you to keep pushing through, even when doubt and fear seem overwhelming. It's about having the strength to persevere, even when everything inside you is telling you to quit. And you want to know the key to emotional resilience. It's self-belief. It's the belief that you can handle whatever comes your way, no matter how tough it gets. It's about trusting yourself and knowing that no matter how many times you fall, you'll always rise again. And every time you get back up, you get stronger. Every time you push through doubt, you build emotional resilience. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Now, I want you to imagine this: you're standing at the edge of something big. Maybe it's a new opportunity, a career change, a relationship, or even a personal transformation. You feel that doubt creeping in. It's that voice telling you, you can't do this. It's too much. It's too risky. But what if, instead of listening to that voice, you turned it into a source of strength? What if you used that doubt as a signal that you were on the right path? Because let me tell you, the bigger the doubt, the bigger the reward. The challenges you face, the resistance you feel, are all signs that you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. And that's where growth happens. Let me ask you this. What would happen if you stopped listening to doubt altogether? What if you trusted your journey and your purpose more than your fears? What would your life look like if you let go of that voice that tells you to quit and instead you focused on the voice inside you that says, I can do this. I am enough. When you make that shift, something incredible happens. You start to build momentum. You start to believe in yourself on a deeper level, and that belief becomes your shield against doubt and fear. I want you to remember something important. Your doubts are not a reflection of your abilities. They are simply a reflection of your fear. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of the unknown. But fear is just an emotion, and emotions don't control you unless you let them. You have the power to control your thoughts, to shift your mindset, and to choose how you respond to those doubts. When you choose to face out head-on with courage and resilience, you'll find that it no longer holds power over you. So, what do you do when doubt shows up? You keep going. You keep putting one foot in front of the other. You keep focusing on your purpose. You keep building that emotional resilience. And most importantly, you keep believing in yourself. Because once you start believing in your own strength, there's no doubt in the world that can stop you from achieving your dreams. Now that we've tackled doubt, let's move on to something even more powerful: the ability to take action. Because the real magic happens when you stop thinking about what you want to do and actually start doing it. That's where the change happens. Stay tuned. We're about to break that down. Now that we've gone deep into doubt, action, emotional resilience, and growth mindset, it's time to talk about something that will transform the way you approach your life. Something that could change everything about how you see your potential, breaking free from the limitations you've placed on yourself. If there's one thing I want you to take away from all of this, it's that you are your only limit. Every decision you make, every action you take, and every thought you have creates the reality you're living in. And most of the time, the limitations we face are self-imposed. We tell ourselves, I can't do this, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough. These limitations are a product of fear, of the doubt we let creep into our minds, and they often have nothing to do with the truth of who we are and what we're capable of. So here's the challenge. Are you ready to break free from those self-imposed chains? Are you ready to stop letting your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities control you? Because once you understand that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, you'll realize that the only thing standing between you and your goals is the story you've been telling yourself about who you are. It's time to change that story. Think about the people you admire the most, the ones who have achieved greatness. They all had to break free from something, whether it was their own fears, their upbringing, their circumstances, or even the limitations others tried to put on them. They had to challenge themselves, step outside of their comfort zones, and take risks. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They didn't wait for the doubt to disappear. They took action despite the fear. They didn't allow their doubts to become their limits. And let me tell you, you can do the same. You can take that first step towards breaking free from the life you've been settling for and into the life you were meant to live. It's about making the decision to believe in yourself so fiercely that nothing, not doubt, not fear, not negativity can hold you back. But here's where it gets tricky. Breaking free from limitations doesn't mean there won't be challenges. It doesn't mean everything will be smooth sailing once you make the decision. The road ahead is full of obstacles. People will tell you that you can't do it, you'll face setbacks, you'll experience failures. But here's the thing, failure is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of your growth. Every time you fail, you learn. Every time you fall, you get back up stronger. That's what real growth is. That's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about using failure as a stepping stone to success. So how do you start? The first step is shifting your mindset. You need to stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start seeing yourself as the creator of your own destiny. You need to stop waiting for life to hand you opportunities and start creating your own opportunities. This shift in thinking is the beginning of breaking free from those limitations. Here's a question I want you to ask yourself every day. What would I do if I wasn't afraid? If you didn't let fear, doubt, or insecurity control your decisions, what would you go after? What would you pursue? What risk would you take? This question is powerful because it cuts through all the noise in your head and forces you to focus on what really matters. It forces you to think about your true potential, not the limitations you've been placing on yourself. And once you start thinking that way, the possibilities become endless. I know it's not easy. I know it takes courage to challenge the status quo and step into the unknown. But here's the truth. The most fulfilling, the most rewarding, the most powerful things in life are on the other side of fear, on the other side of the doubts, the insecurities, and the I can'ts. It's on the other side of all those limitations you've been placing on yourself. And you have everything it takes to break through. This is your time. This is your opportunity to change your life and to live up to your full potential. Stop living in fear of your limitations and start embracing the incredible power you have to create the life you want. It's all within you. You've been holding the key to your freedom this whole time. All you have to do is unlock it. To wrap up, I want to leave you with this final thought. You were never meant to live small. You were meant for greatness. You were meant to break free from every limitation that's been holding you back. So go out there, take action, and watch how your life transforms. Now, if you're ready to take the next step in breaking free from those limitations and living your best life, make sure to subscribe and like for more content that's going to help you on this journey. Here at Wisdom Recorder, we're here to provide you with the tools, motivation, and insights you need to unlock your true potential. Stay tuned for more, because we've got a lot more in store to help you break free and live the life you were always meant to live. Thank you for watching, and remember, you have the power to change your life. You just need to believe it.